This NASCAR 2025 One and Done Picks Part 2 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACE SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
I think it's a fine day to talk racing things, Cody, and it is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He, as always, is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez, and it's a day that ends in Y, which is good for a couple of things. One of which I can't start yet because it's not 5 o'clock, but the other is talking racing things. So, Cody, I'm glad we get to do that today and discuss this fine sport that we love so very much.
Same, Rod. I'm very glad to be here. Another day closer to the season, another day closer to the Clash at Bowman Gray, another day closer to the Daytona 500, another day closer to bets cashing on racing. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing about this, right? As we've already talked about several times over, this offseason has evaporated so very, very quickly. Already, we're going to be in clash mode within the next week and a half or so, collecting the odds for that and bringing you the clash odds and best bets. So, I mean, time's running out. So today, what we'll do is we'll continue on with our exploration of the NASCAR One and Done pool picks that we started yesterday and go through the second half of the season. It's funny, Cody, because when we first started yesterday, we were trying a strategy of not really using up all of the top guys on the list right away. We didn't expect to do that, but we were, that's where we kind of led. But now in the second half of the season, Cody, we have to start picking places for these guys.
Oh, it's beautiful. It means we got a lot of the big guys. We used a fair share of them, right? Guys like Kyle Larson, guys like Ryan Blaney off the board. We used those guys, but plenty of big hitters still left. And that's the fun part about this game. You watch these guys burn all their big starts right at the beginning of the year. They jump out to an early lead, and then you just start whittling away as you take, strategically have your picks placed, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, very excited to talk about the second half of our picks today.
Yep. And you certainly hope that the ones that they use don't have good days when they use them. That's what you're like, oh, I'm hoping this is an off day for this driver in particular. But all right. So listen, we are going to actually talk. There's some stuff that came down the pipe today that we need to talk about for sure. But before we do, I want you to go over to your phone and open up the App Store. Find for yourself, if you have not already, the SGPN app and download it, because not only will you make our bosses happy, but a world of fantastic sports will be at your fingertips. Handicappers from all over the spectrum, whether it's basketball, whether it's hockey, whether it's football, whether it's horse racing, whatever it is you want, all right there, all of our podcasts, all of our picks, and it's all for the low price of free. So make sure you get down there, download the app, and have yourself a good time. So, Cody, I know that you've got news to get to, but I want to talk first about something you put in the Discord from one Mike Wallace, who we already stuck up for him being old and being able to drive still. Like, I mean, look, he's not trying to pilot a Tesla and teach the AI how to get around the track. He literally knows how to drive. He was a little bit unhappy with the decision and took to social media to air his grievances, but I'm team Mike Wallace, my friend.
Yeah, I continue to go back and forth on which way this should go, I guess. And, I got to give credit to our guy, Trial of a Life, again on Facebook, because, so Mike Wallace made this big, long post yesterday. He has a screenshot of, I don't anticipate any issues, and we'll present to the group January 7th. If something comes up, I'll let you know. Thank you. No, he has everything blacked out because he doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it's, assumed that that's coming from a bigwig at NASCAR. And yeah, so unfortunate there, but again, Trial of a Life making a good point on Facebook today. Again, many people agree Richard Petty should have ended his career after the 87 season, but he continued to race until 1992 at the age of 55. Arguably the GOAT for NASCAR. Of course, we know Jimmy Johnson is the actual GOAT, but he's top 3, right? But at Daytona, and the GOAT at Daytona for sure, like he won a ton there. So at what point after he retired would it have been reasonable to say he should get some seat time before attempting a comeback? Imagine him showing up to Daytona in 2022 at the age of 65, like Mike Wallace. Even the King himself wouldn't have been immune to the same scrutiny, especially considering things that happened in the previous year, resulting in certainty of Ryan Newman's wreck in 2020, of course. So this would have been 2002, right? Obviously, Dale Earnhardt was killed in 2001. Then you think of Ryan Newman's wreck in 2020. Enough of a reminder of the difference between iRacing and real-life racing that has its consequences. Nobody should be allowed a 520-week vacation, even these 3 guys being the 3 champions. So I do think, again, continues to make a good point there. And NASCAR hasn't said he can't race. He just can't race in this Daytona 500 right now. There is a path for him to, again, earn back the opportunity to qualify. So, yeah, that's again, the debate rages on, but I am seeing more and more of the point of maybe he does need some more track time before he ends up getting out there.
Well, if I take a 520-week vacation, then I will definitely be the first to ask Mike Wallace how to go about doing that return. Before we get into everything, Justin saying not NASCAR related, but did not appreciate the shot of the Chiefs yesterday. Cody, don't be mad. We're about to do something your Patriots couldn't do.
You're about to win 6 Super Bowls? Weird. I don't think you're anywhere close to that yet, and you're not going to win 3 in a row. So I don't really know what you're talking about, Justin.
Yeah, I don't either. Andrew, you're talking about how does he join the one and done? There's a link.
That's a great question. Yes. Yeah. If you go over to the X at Husker_Zeeb, it's my pinned post over there on my page. The link is in there. If you click on the post in the comments, I posted the updated link. You can join there. Also a League Safe link. Again, $13 to enter. In League Safe, nice, easy, simple way to do it and keep track of it because I'm in too many leagues to try and keep track of all the different leagues and pools and money. So it's very simple over there. Andrew also saying Jeff Gordon is the real GOAT. Yeah, I don't know about that. Jeff Gordon is great. One of the greatest of all time for sure. And if he hadn't helped Jimmy Johnson come along, we could be talking about 8-9-time champion Jeff Gordon, and then there might be a different conversation. But unfortunately for him, the driver that he hand selected became better than he did.
Hey, but that just goes to show that he's got a good eye for talent. So, although my uncle will agree with you on that one, he's a huge Jeff Gordon fan. So, sorry, guys.
All right, Rod's messing with his cord again. Yeah. Way to go, Rod. All right, let's get into the news quick before we get into the rest of our picks, Rod.
Yes.
I don't know if we officially talked about it, but Rick Ware Racing did announce Cody Ware was going to be the full-time driver of the 51 car. Not a big shock there. Obviously, some of us, myself included, were holding out hope that would be the Corey LaJoie ride. And we sort of touched on that yesterday. I think that Corey will probably run part-time in the 15 car, but Cody Ware is the one tapped as the full-time driver of the 51. So yeah, I don't think that's, again, not really a shocking thing there. And yeah, sort of how it is. So today, Rod, Tricon Racing, very much to everyone's surprise, just kidding, because we all saw this coming, announced that Martin Truex Jr. will attempt the Daytona 500 in the number 56 Cup Series car. They'll have technical support from JGR, technical support, quote unquote, Rod, and Cole Pern returning to the box as the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr. So, yeah, this is, we talked yesterday about how Rick Hendrick has a 5th car in the Daytona 500 and it's got Dale Jr.'s name on it. Well, Joe Gibbs has a 5th car in the Daytona 500 and it's got David Gilliland's name on it. And here you go. Tricon is fielding the car. It's going to be completely prepared by JGR. It's going to be a 5th JGR car. Truex is going to be the guy. We're now up to 9 entries, Rod. Open entries for the Daytona 500 for only 4 / potentially 5 spots. Again, with the Elio Castroneva's already locked in deal. But yeah, Truex, not a surprise. We knew that he was going to run the Daytona 500. We thought with 2311 originally, but the reports had come out that it was going to be with Tricon. I think that there was that could be the one place where the lawsuit actually affected some stuff with some uncertainties there. Just do it through Tricon, and it does make it smoother to be a JGR car. You don't have to worry about even involving 2311. So, and 50 I think is really the only number that's not being run that Martin has run, in his career. He started in the 1 car. That number's obviously being run. He was in the 8 car for a while. That number's being run. 78 car, BJ McLeod still sort of has that number, and you would assume that he'll be in this race. 56 it is, which Truex ran during his time. Michael Waltrip Racing.
So here's what they're going to do. I mean, you're going to see the 19 tried to turn into a 56. They're really just taking the 19 car that he rode last year and just putting it back on the track. And they're going to spray paint 56 over the 19, try to make it, how you do when your grades, you're trying to make the A.
There's something to be said for, they already know everything. I mean, you can just take all the stuff you had with the 19 and apply it to this car. This isn't a new guy coming in or anything. Like, they already know everything he likes. They're bringing back Cole Pern, which is who he had all of his big success with, won his championship with. I think that's the biggest thing that's held Truex back over the last couple of years, was the crew chief switch when Pern walked away. So great to see Cole Pern coming back. Now he hasn't crew chiefed in this car, but again, all the support at JGR you're going to get there. I don't see that being a problem. So Martin Truex Jr., this will be the first time we'll see him back this season. I think we're going to get multiple opportunities, especially in the Xfinity Series, potentially probably more so than the Cup Series. For our friends up in Canada, Rod, I know we've got a few of those, JDK and some others here. NASCAR has renewed their deal with Bell Media. So races as well as practice and qualifying, including the trucks in 2025, will be on Bell's linear and digital platforms. So your CTV, TSN, USA, and TSN Plus, that's where you'll be able to find all of that stuff. So kind of business as usual for the Canadian listeners. They obviously have different TV platforms and stuff than we do here.
Love me the TSN broadcasts of the CFL. I know CTV has done a couple of them, but yeah, TSN has some great broadcasters. So
I may or may not have had some experience streaming some football games in the past, Rod, that were Canadian-based broadcasts, and I just love how it seems like every commercial always says they have to mention Canada in all of their commercials. It's like Canada's favorite donut, Canada's favorite this. This is Canada's place to go. It's like, okay, you're in Canada. We get it.
Is that like Beetlejuice? Andrew saying you could say Canada and JDK.
It's like the bats. Like, no, we say JDK. He'll be in the chat any second here. Just, you got to wait for it. All right, Rod.
Say Tim Hortons, and then JDK will appear. But yeah.
I think that's it. We covered all the news. No other news, right?
Well, other than maybe one of your favorite drivers actually becoming, one of my favorite drivers. Wait, you're not going to bring up Matt DiBenedetto?
Oh, well.
In the 99?
We already knew Matt DiBenedetto. Like, it's been officially announced, but we talked about this a while ago.
Okay, that's fine. Viking
Motorsports rebranding, going to be in the 99, whatever.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were thoroughly, but yes.
I think,
Jimmy
Johnson, of course, Rod. Mm-hmm. Legacy Motor Club has announced Jimmy Johnson is going to drive the Legacy 84 car at Daytona and Charlotte. So is that it? 2 races, Rod. Sponsorship will be from Carvana. If he makes the Daytona 500, big emphasis on if there, it would be his 22nd Daytona 500. That would make Charlotte his 700th career Cup start, Rod. Could this be... Now, it could mess it up if he misses the Daytona 500, but let's say he makes the Daytona 500, runs his 699th career start. Whoa, my microphone's going crazy. Runs his 699th career start at Daytona. Then he returns to the Lowe's Motor Speedway, where he once dominated, not dominated, but fucking dominated. That could be, as Rod now leaves the screen. This is why you got to watch on YouTube. He's going to find his JJ. There's the JJ Lowe's car. Boy, wouldn't it be something if they brought Lowe's back for a 700th start? It was the final one. This could be the end of JJ as a driver, Rod. no announcements on that. We'll have to see. Maybe he gets another start in somewhere else if he's not able to qualify for the Daytona 500, which, again, the Mike Wallace conversation is one thing, but Jimmy Johnson not being guaranteed into the Daytona 500 still blows my mind. But Justin checking in the chat, Jimmy Johnson top 5.
Top 5.
Rod's going to have Jimmy top 5 as part of his Jimmy Johnson ladder,
yes.
I'm sure, or car lift, rather, as we like to say over here. But this is the one race you are allowed to bet on Jimmy Johnson because anything can happen, Rod.
And Charlotte, too. David Tharp checking in saying Colleague Racing 2025. We'll talk about Colleague.
Yeah. I mean,
look at that.
Hey, just making a statement. Colleague 2025. I don't hate it, right? Ty Dillon going to get a top 5 at the Daytona 500, so that's great. We're going to be betting on that almost certainly, Rod. And maybe AJ pops up here or there. So there we go.
AJ will definitely pop up several times over. All right, let's start getting back into our one and done pool now that the Jimmy Johnson love is over. But I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about DraftKings playoffs. Not NASCAR playoffs, football players. We're talking playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. You ready to place your first bet? Of course you are. Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Look, I am the ambassador to all kinds of sports that you don't always think about. And not just football, right? I love football. Don't get me wrong. Football's amazing. Football's awesome. But there's so much more on DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you're not digging in, you're wasting valuable resources. Look, here's the thing. You like hockey? How about the Professional Women's Hockey League? They got a game going on between the Minnesota Frost and the Montreal Victoire, right? Okay, so if you want to get in on this action, they've got the puck line, they've got the total, they've got the money line sped up, all kinds of stuff for you to bet on over there. They have got the first period totals, they've got total goals, all kinds of great stuff. Pro Women's Hockey League, PWHL over there on DraftKings. The game's happening sooner rather than later, so get your bets in now for the Minnesota Frost and the Montreal Victoire. Gotta love that. New DraftKings customers, you can bet $5 to get $200 in bets instantly.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Yesterday, we left off just before the NASCAR All-Star race. So we left off with the Advent Health 400 at the Kansas Speedway. We don't have to go over the races that they're at. Just, Cody, remind us who is off the board right now in this one and done, which, by the way, let me go back. For those of you who may not have caught episode 1 of this one, we are doing a one and done pool. In which
this is the part where you want to pause and go back and listen to yesterday's episode. You don't always have to listen to the shows in order, but this one, it probably would be important to set it all up. But just a quick summary, one and done fantasy game for NASCAR. Very simple. You get all the drivers in the pool, 36 points paying races. You can only pick each driver one time throughout the entire season. If you want to join our league that we're doing, go over to the X at Husker_Zeeb. I've got it as the pin tweet there. You can check out the show's feed as well on X, NASCAR Gambling. I just retweeted or reposted that link for that as well. $13 to enter our contest. And then it's posted at the NASCAR Gambling Podcast Facebook page also and in the Discord. So if you can't find it, try harder. But no, so that's it. It's very simple to join. You get all the drivers in the pool, and you get to pick them one time. So you can't pick Kyle Larson every week. You only get to pick him one time throughout the season. That's it. So yesterday, and you have up until the green flag essentially each week to make your picks. You don't have to pick everybody now, but it's a fun exercise to walk through, strategize, and do all that. Yesterday, Rod, we made the picks up to the All-Star race. Daytona 500, we put in Justin Allgaier with Elio Castroneves as our standby. Too bad we didn't know Jimmy Johnson was going to be in the race. Maybe we could have played him, but he'd be another guy to consider for that race, right? And I think a good play. Also, if he does make the race. Atlanta, we went with Stenhouse. Coda with Alex Bowman. Phoenix was Ryan Blaney. Las Vegas was Ross Chastain. Homestead was Ryan Preece. Martinsville, Joey Logano. Darlington, Justin Haley. Bristol, we went with Denny Hamlin. Talladega, Eric Jones. Texas was Carson Hocevar. And Kansas was Kyle Larson. Then we were into the All-Star break, Rod. You don't pick for the All-Star races. This is only for points-paying races. That's where we headed next.
We are heading to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600. Boji Joe saying, Jimmy, one and done. This is the spot, my friend. 700th start. How can we not use Jimmy Johnson in this instance?
I will tell you, Rod, because he's not been good outside of super speedways.
I don't care how good he's been or how not. It's Jimmy Johnson at Charlotte.
I do care, Rod. So, yes, no. You cannot play Jimmy Johnson here. Unfortunately, it might be his last career start. That's going to be wonderful and great, but not a guy that I would play here. Rod, who is a guy that you would want to target in this 600-mile, hopefully. Last year, it was like 374.5, but hopefully this 600-mile race at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Okay, fine. I will give you a more real answer. As Boji Joe calls me the ultimate troll. Yes, I am. Look, I know that we are trying to save him for a better race, but like, can we use Tyler Reddick in this instance? Because this is one of his stronger tracks. 6 races, 5 top 5s, 2 top 10s. He may not win this race, but like statistically speaking, he is the highest average finisher here at this race over the last few races, right? He's got a 5th place average finish, which is better than Harvick, Busch, Truex, Bell, Barry, that's only one race, but Bowman, Byron, like,
we certainly could use him. He's been good, consistent here, Rod. And I think that a 1.5 miles probably is the best place to use Tyler Reddick, or a 2-mile track. Michigan's coming up. I think that's somewhere we could go with him. So I think if you want to factor in the 600-mile part of this race, that's something good to do. What if I could sell you, Rod, on a guy that has 4, 5, 6, hold on, I'm still counting, has 6 top 6 finishes in a row in this particular race?
Then I would tell you that's a good, are we talking Kyle Busch?
We're talking Kyle Busch, Rod. If you go to Kyle Busch, oh, well, okay, actually, that's not correct, because see, it's all messed up because we've only been coming here once a year. But so he was 15th here last season. So, give him that. But 6th place in 23, 2nd place in 22, 3rd place in 21. Did have a 29th in there in 2020, but that was that the 600-mile race, or was that the?
It was May. That was the spring race.
Well, that was the year we had back-to-back races 4 days apart because of COVID. But but so 4th place in one of those. 3rd in 2019, won this race in 2018, 2nd in 2017, 6th in 2016 in the fall race. Been really good here. We just saw recently that he was good at Kansas, almost won there in the fall, 1.5 miles. This might be a spot to go with Kyle Busch. I like that extra 100 miles. You give it to the veteran guy. A guy like Austin Dillon is actually somebody to consider as well. Because he does really well in those long races. To no surprise, Justin Channing, KFB 2025 champion. At the number, he's worth the bet, Rod. And Boji Joe saying this is a Bowman race. Guy who likes to ride around without mistakes. Could be. We've already used Alex Bowman back at Coda. I don't know. I would be okay taking Tyler Reddick. Kyle Busch, just a guy that really jumps off the page to me in this race in particular.
So as I look at his numbers, I think I agree with you, because here's the thing with Kyle Busch, right? We learned last year, we get snake bitten so quickly with Kyle Busch because you put all of your hope in him in a particular race and he comes out flat. So the numbers here kind of don't lie, with 2 outliers in, 10 races of really good finishes on this track, whether it is the 500 or the 600. I'm going to go ahead and go with the trend that he's going to do well again this year. So I'm okay with taking, we can save Reddick for another day. Let's take Kyle Busch here.
Okay. I like it. Let's do Kyle Busch at Charlotte, Rod. And should we move on to Nashville?
Let's move on to Nashville, because you've already got yours picked and we're going to already move on, aren't we?
Do I have my pick already here? I don't know.
I don't know. You seem to love Nashville and being able to pick.
Do
on
I?
that, so
Well, I mean, the question is, are we going to have 5 overtimes and rely on Scott Dixon length, fuel mileage race, or what are we going to rely on here, Rod?
I mean, well, again, Joey Logano had the expanded gas tank in this one to last 400 extra laps than it was already scheduled for. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't think we're going to get that kind of a race here again. So I think,
and you can't, it's just too tough to factor that in. So it's hard to look at last year's race as far as where people finished, because nobody finished where they should have. I mean, Joey Logano was 23rd, I think, at the end of regulation, wins the race because they gamble on it. It goes to 5 overtimes. Very chaotic race. We've already used Joey anyways. So, hard to look at last year's race too much. Is there anybody that jumps off the board? Do you hear? I mean,
so I'm going to ask, because we haven't used him yet, and we keep saying we're going to save him. But is this a good enough place to deploy a Chase Elliott? If you look at his numbers here, he's got a win, 2 top 5s, and 2 top 10s in 4 starts. I mean, last year was a bad year for him, but
but was it? We'd have to go back and look, where was he running at the end of regulation or in the first or second overtime? I don't remember right off the top of my head. I don't have it right in front of me, but Chase Elliott is a concrete driver, very, very good at concrete. So you think of a place like Nashville, you think of a place like Dover. He's really good at this type of track. Ricky Stenhouse, actually the other guy that comes to mind when you think of concrete, but we've already used him earlier this season in Atlanta. Again, we've saved these guys, right? A lot of people have probably burned Chase Elliott by now. We're going to be one of the few people that have him 4th and 1st in the last 2 races besides last year. Really good runs for him there. We saw his intermediate program be pretty good last season as well. My
question though is, in 2021, I'm not recalling that race. Why was he disqualified? He led 13 laps. He started 6th. He ended up DQ'd in that race. Do we remember why he got DQ'd in that race?
I don't remember. I'm sure that a quick
I'll look it up while you
search while so, but looking through other drivers available, who else would we want to use? Zane Smith has a 2nd place finish here last year, okay, but that was again 5 overtimes. We've already used guys like Larson and Daniel Hemrick finished 9th here, but again, that was that same race. Priest has been decent here, but we've used him. Bubba's been okay. Ross has been good. We've already used him. Blaney, Truex, not available. AJ Allmendinger, we're likely going to want to use on a road course. We've already used Hocevar. You're starting to get pretty far down the list now of guys that have had success here lately once you get past Chase Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with taking Chase Elliott, which, by the way, he had a loose lug nut, 5 loose lug nuts, rather, in post-race inspection.
That's not a problem anymore, Rod.
Oh, it's
you got 5 loose lug nuts these days. You don't have any tires left.
Yeah, I was going to say your tires and then your spare is off of your car at that point. But that's what happened. So he finished 13th in that race in the very first race in Nashville, but got DQ'd. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm good. I think Elliott, because you can take him anywhere. So I think this is a good place as any to take him.
Yeah, I agree. So let's do that. Boji Joe advocating for SVG. I'm just gonna say, if you don't use SVG on one of the road courses, you're completely out of your mind. It probably doesn't matter which one it is. Although I have one in particular I would like to use him at, but that's definitely where you're gonna have to use him. And he wants to know where to use Cody. Where? Well, the good thing about having 36 races, 36 chartered cars, you don't have to use all the charter cars, because if you use a guy like Allgaier or Jimmy Johnson early in the season at Daytona, you're going to have opportunities throughout the year at other super speedways to use an Anthony Alfredo, to use somebody else that's a limited entry. Some of these road courses, you might use a limited entry. You might not need to use Cody Ware at all. If you do use Cody Ware, probably a super speedway is real. Not probably. Super speedway is the only place really that you're going to even consider playing a guy like Cody Ware, which might not be a bad play to super speedway. He's had some pretty decent results on them over the years.
Yep, and if you got a race that you can just throw away, then that's fine. But as you go through the season, you don't have to make all your picks now. So if you're sitting on Cody Ware with like 2 races to go or 3 races to go, and you got a pretty hefty lead, you can put him wherever you want. It doesn't matter. So that's kind of where you put him in case.
It might get to the point where you just don't need to use him anyways.
Yep, which is probably the case, I think, anyway. So, all right, we'll continue on down the schedule, but I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, NBA, and PWHL, actually, by the way. It's all out there right now. Plus, you can use specials and boosts on all of your flex entries. I told you yesterday, I'm going to hold firm with this one. Patrick Mahomes higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns, because I just think that they're going to have to come out and play ball against the Houston Texans, who are not going to lay down easy for them. And they may not win in the end, but I think that they're going to give them a little bit of a run for their money. So give me Patrick Mahomes higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns on Underdog Fantasy. And while you're at it, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN.
Rod, over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, there is a college football national championship game article for Underdog, written by yours truly. So make sure you go check that out and get those plays in for Monday evening, I guess.
Day yesterday. I don't know. Whatever day you're listening to it. Again, we don't time travel with you, but there we go. All right, let's move on to Michigan for the Firekeepers Casino 200. Michigan making a earlier appearance in the schedule than last year, much earlier, in fact, a couple of months earlier. I don't know how that will impact things, but
it has traditionally been an August race, huh? Now we're moving it up to June, which is it's probably going to be pretty warm in June, I guess, but maybe not as hot and slick as it has been over the past many years where it's been in August. So interesting change, but that's where we're at.
That is where we're at. Tyler Reddick, the defending champion on this track. Busher, Harvick, Blaney, and then all Harvick kind of making up the past winners on this track. Harvick,
a lot of Harvick.
No longer in this mix. So, Cody, is there anybody that's jumping out to you over here in Michigan?
Yeah, Boji Joe bringing up Brad Keselowski. I do think that he's a guy that we could consider for sure. I mentioned earlier saving Tyler Reddick for this race. You look at his results and you're like, are you sure about that? But he won this race last year, Rod. And if you go back to 2 years ago, a bad finish. I think it was a 29th place finish. But if you remember, that was a great duel between him and Chris Buescher, just back and forth, speeding on pit road, cost him his day. That was part of, leading into last year, where those were the mistakes they had to clean up to get better. That's why he became the regular season champion. Cleaned up that mistake in Michigan, and guess what? He won the race. This is definitely a track that he's the first guy that comes to mind in the post-Kevin Harvick era, of course. And I think if you've got people digging through, looking at recent results, like if you pull up drivers' averages here, which we use a lot, you have to scroll all the way down to 20th place to find Tyler Reddick. He's kind of tucked away down there out of the way. People are going to forget how decent he's been here. I think that, Boji Joe brought up Brad Keselowski, but Chris Buescher could be a really good option here as well if we want to save Tyler Reddick and keep him in our back pocket for later. Buescher's been really good here. I've mentioned, battling with Reddick for the win 2 years ago, which he did win that race, 6th place last season. Pretty tough to count really any of his results prior to that in the pre-RFK days, because it's pre-RFK. He did have a 6th place finish here in 2017 with JTG, though. Pretty impressive in and of itself. I don't know, Rod, any thoughts?
So I could go with Buescher. I really could, only because I do think that we can use Tyler in a place where we feel much better about him. I mean, I know that we feel good because he won the race, right? He's won a race here. But like you said, kind of outside of that, it's been really hit and miss. So
it's his 2 years in the 2311 car, though, too. Like that. True. That's the other thing I want to point out. So again, bad finish in 23, but great run. And it just came down to a pit road deal, which, obviously could happen at any point still, but they've done a good job of cleaning a lot of that stuff up as a team, as they've, were more in their infancy back then. But I do like Buescher here. I think Buescher is a great play this week.
I do too. I really like Buescher because I don't think a lot of people will take the time to research Buescher in this instance. They're going to try to go someplace more familiar. So yeah, give us Buescher here. I like that.
Boom. Done.
All right, Buescher it is. All right. Well, then, to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, we go. Mexico City for the first time ever.
SVG. I think this is where you do it. I think this is where you pull the trigger and take SVG. He's going to have, Chicago, obviously you could play him. That would have worked out for you 2 years ago, which a lot of people did that year, not knowing who he was. But that was another example of, oh, you have this random entry. We can burn this guy. Like, yeah, let's do that. You put him in. Oh, shit, he wins the race, right? Last year, if you played him, he ended up finishing last place because he was wrecked, but looked really good. So you certainly could use him down the road at Chicago if we wanted to. But going to a brand new track, some of these Cup guys have been there in the Xfinity Series 10, 15 years ago. Okay, right? But this is a brand new track, clean slate for everybody. SVG automatically top of the board, is the most experienced road course racer in the field, and this is where he's going to really thrive. I think he's going to be the guy to beat in Mexico. I think he's probably going to be borderline unbettable when we get there because he gets a lot of respect from the books, which is what always sucks from the betting aspect. But I think this is the place where you play SVG because I think that everybody being on a pretty much clean slate, he's the most experienced guy. He's already shown us he can do it in these cars. And yeah, you do play him there, I think.
I 1000% agree with you on that one. And really, because the exact thing you said, equal footing, nobody really knows what that's up against. If anybody has the edge up there, Chicago, then it is SVG, right? Nobody knows what to know. And he figures things out like that, especially when it comes to road courses.
And keep in mind, right, he's in a Trackhouse car this year. It's going to be better than the Colleague car that he has been in. So TK checking in. Look, we've got our Canadian bat signals for JDK. You mentioned SVG, TK pops up. Gotta love that. Justin with the SVG chant as well. Boji Joe saying nice point. Thank you. Appreciate it. Brand new track. And then wondering if AJ is coming. AJ's coming to all the races. He's going to be full time this year with Colleague Racing in the 16. So we've not used him yet. He's going to be in our back pocket probably for a later road course, I would imagine.
He will indeed. Okay, let's continue on.
Not Coda. Roval.
All right, since we've already talked about Mexico City, let us move on to the Poconos, where we go to the NASCAR Cup Series race at Pocono, at the Pocono Raceway.
Should have said Denny Hamlin.
Yep. I mean, listen, Ryan Blaney won this one last year, but yeah, you got to say Denny Hamlin. We've been saving Denny Hamlin for
we played Denny a long time ago.
Oh,
we played Denny back at Bristol. So I was saying we should have saved him. This would definitely be a spot to consider a guy like him. Been really, really good at Pocono since day one. I mean, he swept the races here at Pocono when they had two back in his rookie season. So yeah, if he was around still, obviously on our board, I think he would be the top guy that you maybe consider. And Eric Jones would definitely be a guy to consider here, but we've already burned him as well. He's actually been pretty solid here. What about we've not used William Byron, although are we to the point in the season now where William Byron is taking time off, Rod? Because we know in that 24 car, they like to take the summer off. Maybe we should save him. Should we save him for the playoff run?
Yeah, let's save him for the playoff run. Yeah, because we basically hit that threshold where it's pretty much not benefiting us to use William Byron. But I mean, I know Boji Joe says Ty Gibbs. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on him here.
Yeah.
Really.
So
what are we saving Bubba Wallace for? Are we saving him for Talladega? Are we saving him for Kansas?
Hold on. Let's have a conversation about Ty Gibbs.
All right.
First career start, and if you remember, this was his first career start. Kurt Busch crashed at Pocono in practice. They said, "Hey, Ty Gibbs, you're in. Get in the fucking car and race." And he jumped in and finished in 16th place. First career start in the Cup Series. Short notice, didn't even practice, nothing, just jumped in. Good run. Then in 2023, he finished in 5th place. They came back here last year, Rod. He started on the pole, led 21 laps, and his engine expired. So, that happens. He could be a guy to consider here. Then you're getting a Joe Gibbs Racing car. It should be a fast car. By this point, he's already got a win, maybe 2 in his pocket. Things are running high for Ty Gibbs. Yeah? Huh? No?
Okay.
Let's
do it.
Or who are you going to make a point on, though?
No, I mean, that was it. The only thing I was going to suggest was I was going to ask you about where we were saving Bubba Wallace for. Were we doing it at Kansas? Were we doing it at Talladega? Like what?
Yeah.
But then again, it's fine. I mean, because Ty Gibbs, you're right. There's a lot to enjoy for Ty Gibbs. I'm just saying,
Bubba definitely
5th, 8th, 11th, and 10th in the last 4 races.
Yeah. Bubba could be the guy to use here because then we could save Ty. There's a lot of places we could play Ty. There's a lot of places you can play Bubba as well. In the past, you would have saved him for Kansas. It's sort of fallen off the last couple of Kansas races. I don't know. Is this where we play Bubba?
It's really up to you. I mean, it's a coin flip for me between the two of these guys, because if you think that the Gibbs racing car is going to come out better because of Denny, then that's fine. If you think the 2311 car is going to come out better,
yeah, they both have the same same connection there.
Yeah.
I don't know. You pick, Rod. I'm torn. I could go either way.
Let's save Ty for another day. We'll save Ty for another. We'll do Bubba here because Bubba's got really good finishes here. So
yeah,
let's take Bubba.
And there's still there's a lot of places that we can play.
There's still a lot of races left. That's
there is. Yeah.
But so. Okay. All right. Bubba at Pocono. That's fine. Atlanta Motor Speedway. We spin the wheel here for the Quaker State 400 Super Speedway. Here's where you use your Cody Ware. At Atlanta the second time around. Again, another race is being moved up.
If Corey LaJoie didn't make the first start in the first Atlanta race, this is where you use him.
Yeah, that's true too. Or you use a guy like Daniel Suarez because as far as Cody's concerned, there's no other good place to use a Daniel Suarez. So,
what about Anthony Alfredo, Rod? So not confirmed that he's going to be in this race at this point in time, but we've seen him run in that 62 car plenty of times. He's going to be in the Daytona 500 with them. I would imagine that he's going to continue to be their driver. Should we save everybody on the board and play Alfredo / 62 car? So if it's somebody else, if Austin Hill gets in that car, or Parker Kligerman, I think drove it some last year. Those guys would all be good picks as well.
Can we consider it an open car and just sort of whatever open?
We'll pencil it in as 62 Alfredo and adjust as necessary with an open car.
Okay, so we'll leave that one as an open car because
so Justin bringing up Josh Berry, but there's short flat tracks that we can use Berry, and same with McDowell. Like, sure, good at super speedways, but these guys we're gonna have to use Josh Berry. We're gonna have to use Michael McDowell. Guys like where we're probably not gonna have to use, which is fine. But Berry and McDowell, McDowell could be a road course guy we plug in later, or if we find a track where he's just been pretty solid continually. Berry, the short tracks coming up, we've got Richmond on the schedule still, Martinsville again, plenty of places to use Berry down the road also. So I'd like to save those guys. This is a good spot for an open entry because we know road or super speedways are coin flips for the most part. So yeah, I think we do that.
Okay, let's do that. So we're open car for Atlanta. Now we move to the Chicago street race where everybody's going to be using SVG. Who do we use? Do we go with AJ Allmendinger and a road course guy, or do we go with a Bowman? Do we go with
we've already used Bowman, so he's out. AJ, certainly a guy that we could consider here. The only thing I would say about AJ is, do we want to save him for the Roval, where he's dominated in the past? Wasn't as good this last year, but dominated in the past. Ty Gibbs is 2 good finishes here.
Could we use Ty Gibbs?
What about McDowell? So this might be a good spot for McDowell, who was just brought up. We saved him last week, but 7th and 5th in the 2 starts here.
And remember that last year was a crazy year anyways. So for him to finish 5th in that mess.
The rain and stuff the first year.
Yeah.
And don't forget, and a lot of you might not even know this. Okay, hold on. TK coming in from the top rope. Will Brown supposedly going to try the Chicago race. Might be a good pick if he happens. That is a supercar driver. So we could pencil in a Will Brown. So I would say if Will Brown's in this race, that's who you're going to pick. We're going to probably not count on him being in here because I haven't seen any official plans yet for him, although I know there's been a lot of talk, but he would be the guy to use. I think for sake of the conversation, I like Michael McDowell a lot.
Okay.
As I was about to say too, McDowell, don't forget, was in IndyCar before he came to NASCAR a long time ago, Rod. But he's been really good at road courses. So yeah, I agree.
All right, beautiful stuff. Okay, so then we go to Sonoma for the Toyota Save Mart 350 later in the year, my friends. This is about a month later than it normally is because it's usually in June, and now it is in July 13th, which is great for me because then I know that I can make it. So nothing is going to stop me from going to this one this year. All right, Suarez is what Boji Joe says for this one. Are we burning Suarez here?
Well, I think he was advocating for him at Chicago, but I'm advocating for him here, Rod. 3rd, 7th, and 2nd the last 3 years at Sonoma. Oh wait, I'm looking at what the.
No, I was gonna say not Sonoma.
That was Michael McDowell. What? How did I?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I got all my stuff mixed up here.
Look at we have tabs upon tabs upon tabs.
I was still in my McDowell tab. McDowell's been good at Sonoma as well, so you could certainly use him there. Suarez though has been good at Sonoma. He did get a win.
Yep. And he's got a 12.3 average finish, 3 races, 1 win,
14, 22nd, 1st and 22. I don't know. Maybe this isn't where we use Suarez.
Well, when you look at the surrounding races, I mean, yeah, he won it, but 12th, 22nd, and 14th, 17th, 15th. Yeah. I mean, he's averaging, right around a 12th place finish. So
the problem is who else would you use? Like, this is traditionally not one of AJ's better places. You don't want to burn AJ here. Buscher's been good here, but we've already used him.
Larson, we've already used him.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Elliott.
Chastain we've used. Yeah, I think Daniel Suarez, I think this is a spot where we use Suarez because we know that he can be good here, good enough, right? Even if he finishes 14th, you'd rather not have the 22nd place finish, but before his win, he was 12th, 17th, 15th, 16th. It's all been in 7 career starts here, 6 of them 17th or better. You could take that at a place like Sonoma, and we've seen him be good here. We've seen him get a win. So yeah, I think this is where you place Daniel Suarez at.
Well, I mean, we already talked about the names that we've used. When you talk about top 5 finishes here, and that's really kind of what you're kind of going off of. Buscher has 3, McDowell has 2, Elliott has 2, Chastain has 1, Larson has 1, and Suarez has 1. So I mean, Logano, Busch, those are the other guys. Like Austin Cindric has a top 5 here as well, but we're not really touching him here. So there's not a lot to choose from of people being consistently good on this track. So I definitely am with you. Let's take Suarez at Sonoma. All right, let's move on to the Dover Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series short flat. We talk about people that have done well on this track before. Denny Hamlin won this race earlier last year. So yeah, use Denny. Where are we going? Is this because look at when you look at these, the 19 car is consistently good. I know. Is this a spot where you use Chase Briscoe?
I don't think so, because Dover's not really a short flat. It's short, but it's super banked and fast. I would rather use Briscoe. I'm sort of saving Briscoe for later on and letting him get his feet wet over there. And he's not been really great here at all in the past. So I'd rather translate it to a track where he's been good. Boy, this could be a potential Ty Gibbs spot. 2 starts, 13th and 10th. You could take those.
What about Josh Berry?
Yeah, that's who I was going to
14th
next.
and 10th in his last.
14th and 10th in his last 2. We're not really going to count that first start for Spire anyways. That certainly, again,
car, right? I mean, this is not a junk car.
Yeah, that's what scares me though. Is the Wood Brothers car is not that good.
No, but it's
and Barry, is Barry, Rod, going to be worse in the Wood Brothers car than he was in SHR? I get that SHR was on their way out, but Wood Brothers has been Wood Brothers. Sure, Ryan Blaney was really good in Wood Brothers 10 years ago. Okay. But since then, although places like Bristol, they were really good with Matt DiBenedetto. He almost won in that car. Okay, let's play Josh Berry.
There, because tell me.
I had to make the circle, but I came back around to it.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. Name me another track that you're really pounding the table for Josh Berry. I mean, and I don't know that there's another track that you can even
name me a track where I ever pound the table for Josh Berry.
This is what I'm saying. So, if you can at least make yourself that string of thought to get you there, then this is probably the right place to get him. So, all right, Josh Berry at Dover. Time for the Brickyard. It is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Back to the Brickyard 400 for this one. All right, who's your guy here? Obviously, love me some Brickyard. So Kyle Larson won this one last year. We already used Kyle Larson, so
we have used him. We haven't used yet, Rod. Tyler Reddick.
We have not used Tyler Reddick.
Could this be the spot for Reddick? Reddick finished second here last year. Big tracks. We talked about him with Michigan. Fast intermediates. Good here. He's been good at Kansas and stuff in the past. This might be the Tyler Reddick spot.
I kind of agree with you on this one because if you look, this is like the one race that they've had, and they did finish first.
Right.
So.
I mean, we only have the one race sample size, so. I like taking a more known commodity in Tyler Reddick without track history established and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think this is where, we've been saving him. I think this is where we burn our Reddick card.
Well, I will say, okay, a second place finish in 2024, eighth place finish in 2020 in that 8 car too. So when they ran this track here as well. So two solid finishes in 2 different cars. Yep. This is definitely a Tyler Reddick spot.
Yeah, and I think that was his rookie year too, I think. So it's been a long time ago. He's a much different guy now and much, much better. So I like it.
Okay, beautiful. Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn 350 powered by ethanol. Yeah, Cody, this is your track right here, buddy.
This could have been a Josh Berry spot potentially.
Ryan Blaney, the winner of this one last year.
This
could be a William Byron spot. I know we're saving him for the playoffs, but
he did finish second here last year. Mm-hmm. Although, so this race, we're going to July now. Or are we still? Yeah, this race was in June last year, wasn't it? Or we're in August. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to be hot in Iowa then. Damn.
Only one race sample size too, by the way. So this is
this is another back to back. Only one race to look at. So, boy. There's some guys we could look at, like a Todd Gilliland who finished 12th here last year. Like we still got
Logano.
Yeah, we used Logano.
That's true.
Somewhere.
I needed to have like a tally mark thing, but I didn't.
Yeah. We've already used Priest. Custer. I want nothing to do with that Custer. That Haas Automotion. I might pick Cody Ware over Custer. Like, if we're going to be completely honest,
I'd pick Cody Rhodes over that. How about Brad Keselowski? You're saving him already, though.
He did finish we could. Last year. Yeah, Brad would be interesting pick here. Yeah. Okay. Let's do Brad Keselowski.
Sweet, Brad Keselowski, 10th place finisher at Iowa last year. All right, let's move over to Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Cup Series race at Watkins Glen. Another road course. We've already burned a few road coursers. I know. Wait, is this the one where you were saving somebody for your pocket?
No.
Last year.
We've already used Busher.
We've already used
Zane
SVG.
Smith finished 5th here last year.
Oh, we didn't use SVG. SVG finished 2nd here last year, though.
Yeah, but we used him at Mexico.
Hocevar finishing 3rd.
We used Hocevar at Texas.
Chastain, Zane Smith finishing 5th.
Yeah, Smith could be interesting. Gregson finished 11th. I don't know if I'm going to use him.
Finished 10th.
Cindric, but I sort of want to save Cindric for Gateway because that's his place. We still have AJ if we wanted to use him. Although,
what road course were you saving AJ for? That's what I want to know.
So the Roval, because last year's result not great, but he dominated at the Roval prior to that. Watkins Glen, he's been really good, like 36 last year, but he was in that 13 car. The transmission went out. So they're having all those problems. That 13 car was horrible. But before that, 4th, 2nd, 15th, but then 9th, 4th, 24th. He won here with JTG back in 2014, 8th, 4th, and it starts before that. We certainly could use him here and pivot at the Roval later on. He might be our best option.
Right now, I'm looking at it. I think he is. I honestly, we could pivot at the Roval somewhere else, but
okay.
Of all the choices we have left, AJ's the best one here.
Yeah, and TK pointed out too, it's going to be a different race, not in the playoffs, which is, I think last year was the only time it had been in the playoffs. But going back, it does like this could be AJ's opportunity to, punch a playoff ticket too. So I do like that. Let's go with AJ here at Watkins Glen.
All right, beautiful stuff. All right, let's go back to Daytona for the Coke Zero Sugar 400 Super Speedway. Spin the wheel. Who do we have left that we would like to burn up for a Super Speedway racer?
Where are we at, Rod? I missed it.
We're at Daytona again.
Daytona.
Just before the playoffs begin.
Yes. Who do we have left that we could burn at Daytona? Cody Ware, still on the list. So let me ask you a question, Rod. Is there anywhere on the schedule that we're going to use Riley Herbst?
Oh, no. I don't think so. There's not another place that
he's one of those guys where, he's going to be a rookie. Sure, it's a good car, but where are you really going to use him?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Riley Herbst.
And so,
because Toyota does well.
You cannot burn a guy like Byron at a super speedway. I'm very set on that. And Todd Gilliland is a guy we can use elsewhere too. So I don't think those guys. I think that Riley Herbst. So he's been okay. Rick Ware starts really for the most part at Daytona, but he's been good in the Xfinity Series. I think we use Riley Herbst here.
Yep, I'm good with that because I do believe this 2311 equipment is going to be a lot better. He's going to run with the pack of Toyotas that are usually pretty good on super speedways together. And so, that gives him a really good shot. Again, we're running out of people. And yes, Herbst over Custer. The Haas automation team is not something we're really.
Has Custer really done anything on super speedways that's notable?
No, not really.
And for the rest of the season, Herbst over Custer every single possible race. Sure, Custer was better in the same equipment in the Xfinity Series, top tier equipment. This is not Herbst is going to be marketably better than Custer because the equipment. I think that Haas automation, and maybe I'll be wrong, it could be the worst car in the field on a pretty much week to week basis.
Yeah.
Now Cody Ware being in the 51, that being a one car team now, there probably will be, but Custer's going to be hanging out with Cody Ware a lot. And your brother checking in. Oops. Okay, we got to stop hitting it at the same time, bro. I'm going to click it. You stop.
You click it.
He won at Herbst at Indy. He won the Xfinity race there last year. But remember, that was a restrictor plate race or a drafting track package race in Xfinity, which you won. Okay, good. We're going to translate that into Daytona here. It's so different in Xfinity compared to, last year, what Cup's going to be this year. Hard to take him there, but I think we use Herbst here. So, yeah.
Indeed. Okay, let's move over to Darlington as we kick off the playoffs in the round of 16. Playoffs, the Southern 500, one of the crown jewels of this one. Last year, Chase Briscoe won this race in particular in the 14 car. So we've been sitting on Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, this could be the spot. Obviously, he just won this race last year. He's going to be in the 19 car, which Truex's stats just about everywhere are pretty good. What has Briscoe done prior to winning this race? 5th here last spring, 15th. Not great results prior to last year. I feel, did they make some kind of crazy call in that race to get him up front too?
They may
remember.
I don't remember.
But again, we're sort of oh God, we have to, Rod. William Byron.
Oh, there we go.
How do we not? The first race of the playoffs, he's been really good here. 30th, last fall, after leading a couple of laps, but got in a wreck. But prior to that, 6th, 4th, 1st, 8th, a couple of 4th and 5th place finishes before that. We've saved him this far. I think we have to use William Byron.
All right. This is why we did it. This is exactly why we did it, because now we open the playoffs with a very, very strong contender. So I love the start to that.
And almost nobody is going to have Byron left at this point.
I would, yeah. Unless they were playing our strategy, they won't.
Well, yeah, if you've listened to this show, and that obviously, but you might be entering other one and done pools or whatever too, and this is where you get other people.
Beautiful. Okay, so Worldwide Technology Gateway, you have been saving somebody for Gateway. Who are we saving for Gateway?
Yeah, this is Austin Cindric. I mean, it's Austin Cindric. look, we were on him at Gateway last year going into the race, not to win, unfortunately, but loved his top 10, top 5 numbers. Like, were great. He's been really, really good here. Wins the race now, obviously. Both Blaney and Bell had to have a problem for him to do it. But 13th and 11th in the other 2 races here that he's had, led 26 laps back in 22 in that race. Austin Cindric just isn't great a lot of places, but he's been good here. And he was really good here last year. Started second place, second and fourth in the stages, led 53 laps throughout the day. Sure, you needed a little luck at the end, but even if he finishes third place, fine, we'll take that. Give me Austin Cindric. He's a guy that I just have had marked here. This is his place, and I like saving him for this.
All right, Austin Cindric it is. Let's go down to the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bristol night race. No longer a dirt race there anymore. Both of these are going to be on concrete. So we've already used Kyle Larson. We've already used Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott.
I know who I want, Rob.
Is it time?
Christopher Bell is New Hampshire. We gotta be disciplined and save Christopher Bell.
All right, fine. Who do you want?
I said he was going to get his first career win here in the spring, Rod. Then he's going to come back and run it up with another good finish here. This is where we use him.
All right.
Tyrone Gibbs.
Let's deploy us some Tyrone Gibbs at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We talked him up earlier, so go back and listen to the talk up there. New Hampshire for the playoff race at New Hampshire. Short, flat track. Were we saving somebody for this one too?
What's the thing where what's the game? Is it Jeopardy where you have to hit the button really fast?
Yeah.
That's me hitting the button over here, Rod. Christopher Bell.
Who is Christopher Bell? That is correct. That's the right answer for that one. We've talked about Christopher Bell at length, even on these episodes.
So fucking good at New Hampshire in all series, owns this place. You just sign up for the next 10 years, plug Christopher Bell in here, and don't even think about playing him anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Christopher Bell over there at New Hampshire. I mean, if you want some actual statistics about Christopher Bell at New Hampshire, he's got 3 starts, 2 wins, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. So he's won 2 out of the 3 races on this track. So yes, very, very good at New Hampshire. Kansas Speedway, the second time around for the Hollywood Casino 400. This one's happening at the very tail end of September. I mean, again, we've been talking about saving guys like Bubba Wallace for stuff like this. We've been saving other folks, but
no, we ended up using Bubba.
Yeah.
What about Rod? What about young Zane Smith in the number 38 car? So, finishes here or 10th place here in the fall when he was kind of on that run of having good finishes. 29th in the spring, that was when things weren't going good. They couldn't figure stuff out on that 71 car. But very good at intermediate tracks. Back in front row, we think that car is going to be pretty good. Boji Joe bringing up Hocevar. We used Hocevar back at Texas.
Yeah, we did.
I think this would be a good spot to deploy Zane Smith. Again, looking at, the limited resources that we have remaining at this point in time.
Okay. I'll do it. Zane Smith. Yeah, because we do have some very, very limited resources available to us. So, all right, Zane Smith is going to be our pick for Kansas second time around. Now we're talking about the Roval. We talked our way out of AJ Allmendinger at the Roval. So what's left? I mean,
maybe we shouldn't have talked ourselves out of AJ at the Roval, Rod.
I kind of feel like that too, but like what?
Yeah,
we left.
We're
but
getting.
We're not going to be alone. Not a lot of people are going to have.
No, that's kind of where everybody's going to be in this boat.
So is there anybody better that we could use? I mean, AJ, obviously the guy clear. Bell is at second. Bush.
What about Todd? How's Todd Gilliland been here? He's a pretty decent road course guy.
Not even Todd Gilliland, 3 starts, 1 top 10 finish, 1 top 20 finish rather in his.
Okay, about 18th in his. I mean. So a front row start back in 22, rookie, whatever, but 23rd in the Rick Ware car then in 28, 23. That's a decent run. Up to 18th last year. Again, we're not probably going to find many guys we can get a top 10 out of, but Gilliland gives us an opportunity.
We have to at this point.
Right
off or we've all used. So
yeah, we don't have a ton of options here. I think that Gilliland is we've saved all our front row guys for late here, Rod, but
sure have.
They're going to be clicking at this point. So yeah, and Gilly, don't forget, he's in that 34 car now. He's going to be the lead guy. We've seen McDowell do well on road courses in that car. And Justin bringing up McDowell, we used McDowell
a while ago.
Back at Chicago, we used him.
Yeah. Okay. So that is where we will use Todd Gilliland at the Roval. Las Vegas, round 2 for Vegas, the later race in this one. South Point, Logano won this one. It was Bell Suarez.
How did this lie? How do we? We're so fucking good at this, Rod. God, I just want to pat ourselves. Go ahead, pat yourself on the back, Rod.
Okay.
We left Noah fucking Gragson on the board in a front row car at his home track in Las Vegas. This is a no fucking brainer. You got to go with Noah Gragson in this pick.
That's so beautiful. We are good at this.
And by the way, that's 3 weeks in a row of front row guys. We saved them and deployed them at the right time, Rod.
Gotta love it. All right, Talladega, the next super speedway that is menacing the playoffs on this.
So could we make a slight change here, Rod? I would like to advocate for going back to Daytona, where we played. Who did we play at Daytona? We played Riley Herbst. I would like to go back and retroactively change that to Ty Dillon, who's been pretty good at Daytona in the past, and move Riley Herbst to Talladega.
Hey, it's our show. We can do what we want. So yeah, let's make that flip.
Going back to Daytona, we're going to put in Ty Dillon, and we're going to flip Riley Herbst and leave him back at Talladega here.
Based on new information it just gathered, we are.
Although, should we be saving Herbst for what do we have on the schedule after Dega? Because we're almost done. No,
yeah,
I think
we have Martinsville and Phoenix. Those
okay,
are the races.
So we're playing Riley at Dega.
Yep. So all right, and so let's move on to Martinsville as we further down the list. Again, we're running out of folks to use.
How good's Austin Dillon been at Martinsville, Rod? That's the question I have for you.
How good has Austin Dillon been at Martinsville? I will give you that answer in about 15 seconds as fast as my Xfinity internet can load. Austin Dillon, I'm having to scroll.
Decent. So he's 7th place here in the fall, actually, last year. 34th, 23rd, but 12th, 33rd, 3rd, 13th, 14th. It's hit or miss. But basically, so we at this point, Chase Briscoe is our play at Phoenix. I think that we have to lock that in. So remaining, we now have Austin Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, and Cody Ware.
I almost feel like either Austin Dillon or John Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, what's John Hunter done here?
John Hunter finished in 31st here last year in this equipment. That's not all that great.
Putting a lot of faith in him.
It is not.
Yeah, he's not been real good here in his couple starts recently.
All right, Austin Dillon it is then.
Yeah, I think we use AD at Martinsville, and then we go to Phoenix, and we have Chase Briscoe left on the board. Really good at this track. There was a couple of spots where we could have used him, but we saved him. And we need that last push. He's going to be a guy. He's really good at Phoenix. That's where he's got his only career, not his only career win. He won at Darlington this last year, but got his first career win and was his only career win until recently. So yeah, I think that Briscoe will be a good pick there because he. Boy, why am I having trouble finding his spot? Oh, there he is.
Too many tabs.
Too many tabs, Rod. Too many tabs. Yeah, 29th here in the fall was not a good run. Final race in SHR, whatever. But before that, 9th place, 24th, but 7th, 4th, 1st. Some good runs here. I like it.
Okay, beautiful. All right, very quickly as we've gone.
Get out your pen and paper, friends.
Yeah, there's more races after the All-Star break than there were before. So
yes, we maybe could have planned that differently, but that's okay. All right. Here we are, friends. Charlotte, KFB. Nashville, Chase Elliott. Michigan, Chris Buescher. Mexico, SVG. Pocono was Bubba Wallace. Atlanta was the 62 Alfredo / open car. Chicago, Michael McDowell. We'll keep going. Sonoma, Daniel Suarez. Dover, Josh Berry. Indianapolis, Tyler Reddick. Iowa, Brad Keselowski. Watkins Glen was AJ Allmendinger. Daytona, Tyrone Dillon. Darlington, we saved William Byron for that race. Gateway, Cindric. Bristol, we took Ty Gibbs. New Hampshire, Christopher Bell. That's a lock in there. Kansas was Zane Smith. The Roval was Todd Gilliland. Las Vegas was Noah Gragson. Talladega, Riley Herbst. Martinsville, Austin Dillon. And Phoenix for Chase Briscoe. So I think that covers everyone. Full-time drivers that we did not use, Rod, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, and Cody Ware.
I mean, if we're going to leave 3 on the outskirts, I think those 3.
And any of those guys could be interchangeable at super speedways. Nemechek, actually, I feel like Daytona maybe has been pretty good, so you could look at him there. But yeah, I think we did pretty well on this.
I think we did too. So, all right. Well, then let's call it quits for the week and come back to you on next Tuesday to start talking about. Man, we're getting closer to the Clash. I'm so stoked. We got one more week of preseason content, and then it's Clash time, baby.
And it is time to bet on actual races, Rod. Let's fucking go. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this fun thing. Again, if you want to jump in the pool, $13. Go over to the X at @Husker_Zeeb at NASCAR Gambling. The top post over there. Click on it. Link is in there. Reach out to me if you have any issues. We'll make sure to get you in there, get you signed up. And so it's a lot of fun throughout the season to kind of keep an eye on that. All right, Rod, you can find the rest of my work also at Husker_Zeeb while you're already over there. Tons and tons of stuff out for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Arena football is almost back. The content has begun rolling for the AF1 now, Rod. So, I got some fun a piece out over there. More pieces on the way, so make sure you're checking those out. And, follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Subscribe on the YouTube. Follow on Facebook. See you guys next week.
Indeed. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Back Road is kicking off tonight for those of you listening on a Thursday. Already out if you're listening on Friday. So go make sure to check out the In Between Media YouTube channel for the Back Road. I'll be on with Seth and Elliott. We're talking about some of our favorite preseason bets. And then check out my other site that's out there. I've got some PWHL stuff for you, some Call of Duty League. We'll have some rugby out before it's all said and done. So lots of great stuff happening over there. Link is in the bio to that. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy. And we'll see you back on Tuesday. So until then, let's go racing, go Jimmy Johnson, and let it ride.